Am I the a-hole for refusing to leave my friend's flat even though it disrespected his girlfriend's boundaries? Plus update. I, 24, female, moved abroad with my boyfriend after graduating university 18 months ago. One of my best friends from uni, Callum, 24, male, returned to start his PhD and is living in a shared accommodation block. I was visiting my family back home this weekend and had arranged a day to visit Callum and see my old uni town again, and then had planned to go to the airport from there, as it's way nearer than my hometown. Callum had offered me to crash on a blow-up mattress on his floor, and I very happily accepted rather than shell out on a hotel. When I got to Callum's place, he had invited his friends in the block to hang out, and I met his new girlfriend Hannah for the first time. They've been together a few months, but we hadn't had a chance to meet yet. I liked her loads at first, and thought she and Callum were super sweet together. I've known Callum for ages, and I'd never seen him this happy. When the group started to break up for the evening, she asked me where I was planning on staying for the night. I was surprised that she didn't know, and told her what Callum had offered. She then took me outside and asked me to please stay somewhere else that night, as she felt uncomfortable with a female friend staying in his room. I didn't really have anywhere else to go, so I said that unless she could help me with a hotel room at this late stage, I couldn't really go anywhere. She then said that I was disrespecting her boundaries with her boyfriend, and that in any case, now she was going to stay with Callum, and it would be inappropriate for me to be there. She lives in a neighboring block, so I asked her why she couldn't just return there, and she said she had a right to decide which women get to share her boyfriend's room, especially if it's an old female friend who I don't know if she's had history with him. To be clear, there was no history there at all on either side, and I told her this, but she said she had no way of knowing if I was telling the truth. Again, I refused to leave. We had arranged this ages ago, and she couldn't just undo that last minute unilaterally just because she was his girlfriend. And with that, I went back inside and we said nothing more on it. I stayed the night on the blow-up mattress and left really early this morning. I'm at work now and just got a text from Callum asking if we could call this evening, because he just got a text from Hannah saying that I disrespected her boundaries and that he needs to cut me off. He's one of my closest friends and I don't want to lose him, so I'm wondering if I should apologize. My boyfriend thinks that this is ridiculous and if anyone needs to apologize, it's her, but at this point I'm not sure. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. This was pre-arranged, and it's not your fault that he didn't tell her/clear it with her. She could have offered you her apartment if she wanted to stay with her boyfriend and her room was going to be empty. Also, he could have gone to stay with her if she had such an issue. It boils down to the fact that he did not communicate this to her. It's not your issue to deal with. Be honest with your friend when he calls. His girlfriend has probably not told him the full story. I think the even bigger point is that Hannah didn't communicate with Callum. Why was she the one to take Opie aside and ask about the sleeping arrangements? That's a conversation Hannah should have had with Callum. And, if he thought it necessary, Callum should have conveyed to Opie. Not the a-hole. You've got nothing to apologize for. You didn't hide anything and were transparent. If Callum didn't tell Hannah because he knew she would react badly, that's his issue. It's a pretty big red flag that Hannah's already trying to control who Callum interacts with. And if he starts cutting off people she doesn't like, I suspect even his family will soon be on the cut-off list. Hopefully someone will manage to get through to him and Hannah will be sent on her way. Yeah, and has she even said something now? It sounds like all Callum has heard is disrespected boundaries but no details, which is super weird. I mean, of course Hannah's entitled to have her boundaries respected in a relationship, but the person to talk to about that is her boyfriend. As in, hey, it makes me uncomfortable if you have female friends sleeping over in your room. Can we agree not to do that? OP, I would just give a basic explanation when you talk to Callum later. Something like, hey, I'm sorry if there was some kind of misunderstanding. Hannah came to me last night and said she didn't want me staying in your room, but it was way too late to find a hotel at that point. So I told her I couldn't. That's it. $10 says he'll be surprised because she was making it out to be some much larger thing. Not the a-hole. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone who commented. I read it all. Quick clarification. The offer was never to share his bed. It was always the blow-up mattress. That's our own boundary. The building has no communal area other than a lobby, so I couldn't have slept there. Callum and I called, and I did what a lot of you said. 1. Not apologize, and 2. Just lay it out exactly as it happened. I even read from my post. The big surprise? He had told her in advance, and she had said it was okay. As I commented, I had assumed that they had discussed it on the night, but my later guess was correct. She had said nothing. He then said that when Hannah texted telling him to cut me off, he told her that he wanted to talk to me first about what happened, and then she ghosted him. He apologized profusely to me and said that he needed to talk to her ASAP. A girlfriend of Callum's friend, Sarah, who was there, messaged me after we called because she read this post and thought it was me. She told me that she's in a group chat with some others at Hannah, who had been ranting about how I had taken her outside to tell her that even if she was Callum's new girlfriend, I was his real girl, because I was his best girlfriend, and that she shouldn't think about coming between us, and that I told her that Callum might be hers now, but he'll always be my Callum? Sarah then told me that this happened twice before, where Hannah's told Callum that a girl he was friends with needed to be cut off, and she would then tell the group chat they had said things like, "You're no good for him, we'd be better together," etc. Sarah now suspected Hannah was making all this up. So I called Callum again and told him what Sarah had said, and he was very upset. Most of the time, Hannah hadn't really given him a reason to cut off these other girls. Just that if he respected her, he'd trust that these girls needed to be cut off because it's girl code. He talked to Hannah in person this morning, and she confessed that she made it all up, about me and about the other girls. She didn't want other girls to even be an option for him to be close to if they were going to be in a relationship. So she persuaded Callum into breaking off the friendships. And he didn't want to lose her, so he complied. Her words? "I wanted to save you from the opportunity to put another woman above me." He's not had a great experience with previous girlfriends being really emotionally distant, and I think Hannah was the opposite, in that she would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted. Not surprisingly, he broke up with her, and has now apologized to the other girls and again to me. So, to summarize, Hannah was manipulating and lying to everyone around her in order to keep Callum away from basically any woman. Callum found out. They broke up. We're friends again, and he owes me a drink next time we're in the same country. It always speaks volumes when your partner tries to isolate you from your friends and support. More people need to listen to the deafening warning in between the lines. It's the most common form of domestic violence, and also by far the most common form used on men by women. And it's so normalized that it's joked about regularly. There was an attempt in the UK a few years ago to make it fall under the same laws as other DV laws, but it quietly vanished as more men came forwards talking about suffering that style of DV. She would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted. Classic control tactic / love bombing too. I feel bad for Callum. Dude needs to learn that emotional distance and manipulation are not the only two romantic options. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Hannah's behavior is just worrying, and only after a few months. Aside from attempting to isolate Callum from friends, she seems jealous and insecure. The kind of person who believes men and women can never be friends. The lying about what was said just takes the cake. Drama queen. Did you pick up the love bombing too? She would lavish him with affection when he did things she wanted? Also, you can see the subtle narcissistic vibes in "save you from the opportunity to put another woman above me." Save you, as in you need me to make a decision for you cause you need saving. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for throwing away my girlfriend's dad best friend's t-shirt? Original post. I know it sounds bad, but hear me out. I have been with my girlfriend for a couple years and we live together. My girlfriend lost her best friend of 10 years her senior year of college. They had gone through a lot together, but the best friend had some untreated mental health issues and she lost the fight against her depression. My girlfriend was the one who found her. They lived together at a time. This caused my girlfriend to spiral. She wound up helping the parents go through her stuff. She now has a box of old journals that were her best friends. They had a pact that if one dies, they wouldn't let anyone else read them. Too embarrassing or something. A t-shirt, some art she had done, and a bunch of scrapbooks. My girlfriend was in a dark place for a long time. I met her a couple years after the incident and it's taken time, but she has gotten better. She was and is in counseling for grief and other stuff. She used to talk about a friend constantly, but now it's down to every once in a while. Now, generally when I clean, I take stuff and put it in a bag and tell her to go through it before I throw it out. Today, I was going through our closet and was making donate/throwaway piles. I asked her to go through it when I was done, but she had a lot of work and said it was probably fine. She generally doesn't care too much about her clothes, and I think she was overwhelmed. Well, I threw out the stuff that was worn and old, ripped, etc. Then after I showered, my girlfriend came yelling at me demanding to know where the t-shirt is. I asked her what t-shirt, and she said the one belonging to her dead best friend. I asked if she lost it, and she said no, it was in the closet. So then I said it might have gotten thrown out, and she just started screaming at me. I said I asked her to go through the piles, but she said no. But then she said that it should have never been in the piles, given how much she has talked about a friend and that apparently she told me the story behind the t-shirt. I don't recall it. I knew there was a story and I knew there was a t-shirt, but I never paid enough attention to which shirt. Well, she has now taken the bag to her brothers. I just don't get why she is so upset. She has all of these other things to remember her friend by. A t-shirt isn't that big of a deal. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Yordi A. Hall. I was on your side thinking you just honestly effed up with no ill intent until I got to your last two sentences. Yep, I was thinking exactly the same. Possibly honest mistake until you make clear that you don't even understand why your girlfriend is upset. Yordi A. Hall for not taking your girlfriend's own words about her own feelings seriously. Once I read that she apparently slept in the shirt all the time and he still thought it was okay to throw it away, I started to doubt it was an accident. Even if she didn't have an emotional connection to that shirt, why would you throw away your girlfriend sleeps in all the time unless it was damaged? And even then, why wouldn't he check with his girlfriend about that specific shirt? I don't believe that he didn't know what the shirt was. Yordi A. Hall. You went through the closet today while she was working. While she was busy and overwhelmed and you wanted her to double-check the pile. This happened today and your girlfriend informed you today that the shirt was missing. Did you go look in the bags? Did you attempt to find a shirt? You have made it clear you do not care about a shirt. In the years you have been dating her, you never noticed which shirt it was. You never paid attention to what she was sharing with you. A t-shirt isn't a big deal to you because you don't care. It is a big deal to her. Go find a shirt. This. He could have at least given her the weekend before tossing or donating on Monday. Who the heck does something like this and expects someone to drop everything to check within 24 hours on a weekday? And now he's being dismissive about it? Yordi A. Hall. Update. So with my last post, I figured I owed you guys an update. I had apologized at a time, but I didn't think I effed up that badly. At this point though, some of this stuff felt excessive. I was the one going through our shared closet because we have been doing an overall deep clean of the apartment. As far as getting rid of her stuff, I was only throwing out stuff that was clearly ripped. She was aware this was happening. I did try to get the shirt back. By the time I got out there, the trash had been picked up. I called the company, but they said it was gone. After reading some comments, I called the best friend's parents. My girlfriend still goes over around the holidays, and briefly explained what happened. They said that over the past year, they have been downsizing, and they went through her stuff and half got donated, but the other half was sitting in her sister's attic in a box if I wanted to ask her. I called the sister, told her what happened, and asked if there was anything she would be willing to let my girlfriend have. She said she has a couple sorority shirts that she would be willing to give her, and apparently the friend had 2 necklaces and she would be willing to give my girlfriend one. I said that would be great. I talked to my girlfriend and let her know where to send it. I drove to the brother's house to talk to my girlfriend. When I got there, I hadn't even gotten out of my car before her youngest brother and cousin came out and just started screaming at me. Her cousin said I had no right to have any opinion about a best friend, that she was some amazing person and I had been so disrespectful about her. He then said that if her best friend were still alive, she would have talked my girlfriend into dumping me years ago. I felt that was uncalled for. Her brother started telling me to go to hell, and that I was always jealous of the best friend, and that I need to get off his property. I tried to explain I was here to fix it, but he wouldn't even let me see my girlfriend. Apparently, she's in a rough shape and had to take days off work because she's having some kind of meltdown. So I left. I got home and I got a call from the sister. I picked up. And I don't know what my girlfriend told her, but she laid into me and said I was some unforgivable a-hole stumping all over her sister's memory. She said she would be more than happy to send my girlfriend the items we talked about, but to her brother or grandmother's house since I can't be trusted. A couple hours later, I got a text from her saying it's over and she's breaking up with me. Her brothers came by an hour later to get her stuff, and she's now refusing to take any of my calls. So for those who hoped she would dump me, you got your wish. I couldn't imagine breaking up with her over this, especially since we were together almost 3 years, and she can't even answer her phone to dump me. I remember this post. The OP has deleted his post and comments, but if you read the original post, you can see he had commented that his ex-girlfriend slept in that shirt a lot, so he definitely knew which one it was, and it was not a mistake. He complained that she talked about her friend a great deal, and he didn't like it. That's important context that completely changes my view of OP. Even the story from his perspective makes him sound like a monumental idiot. Honestly, it sounds like the t-shirt thing was the last straw for her. It seems like her family had disliked you for quite some time, based on UOP, which was written from your perspective, so presumably is the most flattering version of this story for you. You don't sound very considerate of her feelings. I'm also not convinced that you're telling the whole story here. I get your ex having visceral reaction to something so sensitive, and even her brother and cousin trying to be overprotective. The friend's sister's reaction suggests that you left something out of the story when you called her, and I'm betting you left it here as well. Well, breakups suck. You live and you learn, I guess. Edit. Actually, your story doesn't ever make sense. You say that you were throwing out anything that was old and ripped, but you threw out a shirt that she wore on a regular basis. Why would you throw out something that you know she actively uses? Why do you feel the need to purge her clothes at all? You sound very controlling. Opie responds to the comments further down that he thinks his girlfriend was obsessive and made her take down 6 pictures she had up in the house of her friend. He seems like he's leaving out a pretty insistent campaign of forcing his girlfriend to get rid of various reminders of her friend.